She moved to a new school in hopes of leaving her past behind, but hiding only made her a target. When the bully strikes, will Amanda remain silent or unleash the storm within? This is her chance to teach the entire school a valuable lesson. The first day at a new school was always a challenge, but for Amanda Lewis, it meant much more than just meeting new faces or memorizing the map of the hallways. For her, every step on the Northwood High campus was calculated. Every word that left her lips, measured. She wasn't there to make friends. She was there to survive. Amanda had learned early on that invisibility could be her greatest ally. Her past was a labyrinth of emotional scars and painful memories. When she was younger, she witnessed her father assaulting her mother in a drunken rage. Since then, she had vowed never to draw attention to herself. The violence she witnessed shaped her personality. Calm on the surface, but seething with an inner strength that few could perceive. Upon arriving at Northwood High, Amanda followed her usual plan. She sat at the back of the classroom during the teacher's introduction, avoiding eye contact with anyone. Her clothes were discreet. She wanted to blend in with the other students without drawing attention. But Emma Griffin, the school bully, had trained eyes to detect vulnerabilities. And that morning, as she roamed the hallways with her gang, she was looking for who would be her next victim. The students already knew her routine and tried to keep their distance. Emma immediately noticed Amanda. There was something about her. Perhaps it was the hunched posture or the way she seemed to avoid even breathing loudly that made Emma think, "Yay, fresh meat. This one will be easy prey." Emma was everything Amanda feared. Popular, confident, and cruel, she reigned over the school with verbal punches and psychological manipulations. Her natural beauty and superficial charm masked a deep insecurity, the result of a home where nothing she did was ever good enough for her demanding parents. Bullying was her outlet, a way to prove to herself that she still held some kind of power. And she was surrounded by others who were only with her out of fear or trying to gain a little bit of the power she had. At lunchtime, Amanda tried to hide in an isolated corner of the cafeteria, hoping no one would notice her. But Emma, accompanied by her friends, decided to mark her territory. With a sharp smile, she pulled out the chair next to Amanda. "So, you're the new girl?" Emma asked, her sweet voice laced with venom. "I don't remember seeing you before." Amanda lowered her eyes to the sandwich in her hands, not responding. She knew any word could be used against her. "Don't talk much, do you?" Emma continued, leaning forward. "Or do you think you're better than everyone here?" The laughter of Emma's friends echoed through the hall, drawing the attention of other students. Some turned their heads curiously, while others pretended not to notice. Amanda remained silent, but felt something inside her tighten. It was as if she was being pushed into a familiar abyss, a place she had been before. She remembered her mother's words, "Don't react, dear. Reacting only makes things worse." But Emma wasn't going to let it go. Taking a glass of soda from one of her friends, she deliberately spilled it on Amanda, soaking her clothes and food tray. "Oops, sorry," Emma said, laughing. "It must be hard being so invisible." The other students began to whisper, some laughing quietly, others uncomfortable with the scene. Amanda stood up slowly, picked up her backpack, and left without saying a word. As she walked down the empty hallway, she felt her eyes well up, but she stayed strong. And when she reached the girls' bathroom and looked at herself in the mirror, her eyes reflected something different. This would not stand. She knew who Emma Griffin was now, and Emma had no idea of the monster she had just awakened. As Amanda washed her hands in the bathroom, she found a note scribbled on the wall, "Bullies always pay." She smiled slightly, murmuring to herself, "Maybe it's time to remember some old lessons." And then she tucked the paper into her pocket, head held high. In the following days, Emma's bullying only worsened. She seemed determined to turn Amanda into her new favorite target, as if she had found prey that didn't react, and was therefore perfect for molding to her will. It was like a silent toy, easy to manipulate and humiliate. But what Emma didn't realize was that each attack, each biting comment, was fueling something much more dangerous within the quiet girl. At the beginning of the week, Emma spread rumors about Amanda in the school's group chat. "She's weird," Emma wrote. "She's always alone because no one wants to be with her. Have you seen that strange way she acts? It's like she's hiding something." The messages circulated quickly, and soon the other students began to avoid Amanda even more. Some even laughed quietly when she walked down the hallways. Amanda, however, remained unfazed, or at least she appeared to be. On the outside, she continued to be the same discreet and reserved figure, but inside, her gears were turning. Every insult was recorded, every move by Emma observed. Amanda knew exactly who was talking about her, who was laughing at her expense, and who was simply ignoring it all. And she was collecting this information like pieces of a puzzle. One day, during biology class, Emma decided to up the pressure. Sitting a few rows behind Amanda, she began to kick her under the table, whispering loudly enough to be heard, "Hey, new girl, can't you speak? Or maybe you're too dumb to understand what's going on." Some muffled laughter echoed through the room, but Amanda didn't even turn around. Instead, when the teacher asked someone to explain the concept of natural selection on the board, she slowly raised her hand. The teacher, surprised, called on her. Amanda walked to the board with steady steps and began to draw detailed diagrams while explaining the topic with clinical precision. Her voice was calm, almost hypnotic, and her words were so clear that even the teacher seemed impressed. "Very well, Amanda," he said, nodding. "Excellent explanation." Emma frowned, disconcerted. This wasn't supposed to happen. Amanda was supposed to be invisible, unable to defend herself. But the small displays of strength didn't stop there. At the end of class, while Emma was packing her books, she found a folded note in her backpack. Inside, there was a single handwritten sentence. "You chose the wrong target." Emma rolled her eyes, crumpling the paper. "Is this some kind of joke?" she muttered to herself. Later that same week, Amanda began to leave subtle clues that she wasn't as helpless as she seemed. During the break, Emma tried to corner her near the lockers, surrounded by her loyal friends. "So, Amanda, you think you can intimidate me with these pathetic little notes?" Emma taunted, crossing her arms. Amanda finally looked directly into Emma's eyes, and that's when something changed. Her gaze was no longer submissive. It was icy, calculating. "I don't need to intimidate you, Emma," Amanda replied, her voice low but laden with meaning. "You've done that to yourself." The words hung in the air for a moment before Emma gave a nervous laugh. "Oh sure, as if you could do anything against me." Amanda merely smiled faintly, a smile that didn't reach her eyes. Without saying another word, she walked away, leaving Emma irritated and confused. Emma decided it was time to finish Amanda off once and for all. She planned a major public humiliation for the next school event, the annual talent show. Knowing that Amanda always sat in the back row, Emma organized a plan to expose her in front of the entire school. She convinced some friends to help, ensuring it would be impossible for Amanda to escape this time. Meanwhile, Amanda continued to observe. She knew Emma was plotting something bigger, but she also knew this could be her perfect opportunity. Deep down, Amanda began to feel a dark pleasure at seeing Emma dig her own grave. One night, while studying at home, Amanda decided to look up something about Emma on social media, and with her skills, it didn't take long. She found a profile on a network with various things Emma thought she had deleted. Compromising photos posted on other people's profiles, and even recordings of embarrassing moments that she probably thought were forgotten. Amanda smiled at the screen, thoughtful. "Maybe it's time to show who the real fraud is," she murmured to herself. On the eve of the school event, Emma received an anonymous message on her phone. "You will pay for everything you've done. Tomorrow, everyone will know who you really are." Confused and slightly worried, Emma showed the message to her friends. "It must be some stupid joke," she said, trying to sound confident. But deep down, something bothered her. Amanda, on the other side of town, was finishing the last details of her plan. With a cold gaze fixed on the computer screen, she whispered, "Tomorrow, Emma, you will discover the true meaning of fear." The school gym was packed for the annual talent show. Students, teachers, and even some parents gathered amid excited cheers and applause. It was the most anticipated event of the semester, a moment where students shone, or stumbled, under the spotlight. For Emma, it was the perfect opportunity to humiliate Amanda in front of everyone. She had carefully prepared everything. An edited video that ridiculed Amanda as a weird and antisocial girl, complete with mocking captions and funny music. Emma was confident. Her plan was to play the video on the big screen during a break between performances, ensuring everyone saw it. As she finalized the details with her close friends, she cast a triumphant glance toward Amanda, who was sitting discreetly in the back row. "Today is the day you disappear forever," Emma murmured, smiling to herself. But Amanda didn't seem worried. In fact, her expression was almost bored as she observed the chaos around her. She knew exactly what Emma was planning, and she also knew that this would be the moment when Emma finally understood who she was really dealing with. When the video began playing on the big screen, there were initial laughs. The footage showed Amanda walking through the school hallways, exaggerating her reserved posture and turning it into something comical. Captions flashed on the screen: "The girl who doesn't speak, queen of silence, invisible by choice." But before the audience could laugh too much, something strange happened. Suddenly, the video changed. The images of Amanda were replaced by compromising photos of Emma. She, who valued looking good and having her superficial life on display for the world, now appeared in photos without makeup, with dirty hair. In other photos, she looked like she had just woken up, different from what everyone at school was used to seeing. In the videos, Emma talked about cheating on the cheerleader test, and the last video showed her parents blackmailing teachers to keep her grades high. Silence filled the gym. Everyone was frozen, unable to process what they had just seen. Emma's mouth hung open, her face pale as she tried to understand how this had happened. She turned frantically to her friends, but they were already backing away, avoiding eye contact. Amanda, still sitting in the back row, slowly stood up and walked near the stage. When she reached the center, under the spotlights, she looked directly at Emma, who was now standing in the middle of the audience, completely exposed. "You wanted to make me the target of everyone, Emma?" Amanda said, her voice calm but echoing. Maybe it was time to remember that no one escapes unscathed when they decide to attack someone without knowing who they're really facing. Murmurs began to grow in the audience. Some students shook their heads in disapproval. Others whispered about how they had never noticed Emma's dark side. Even the teachers looked uncomfortable, exchanging worried glances. Emma tried to speak, but her voice came out shaky and weak. "This isn't fair. You manipulated all of this." Amanda merely smiled faintly, a cold and calculating smile. "Manipulation? That's something you do so well, Emma. I just showed the truth. The rest is up to you." She stepped away from the stage without saying another word, leaving Emma alone in the midst of the chaos. The murmurs grew louder, turning into heated conversations. Some students began to confront Emma directly, demanding explanations. Others simply walked away, avoiding contact. In the days after Amanda exposed Emma, something unexpected happened. While the embarrassing images circulated and murmurs filled the air, there was a moment of silence, a kind of deep reflection that surprised even Amanda. The students began to realize that Emma wasn't just a brave bully. She was also a girl full of flaws, fears, and vulnerabilities, just like anyone else. Some of Emma's closest friends quickly distanced themselves, but others seemed to feel a strange empathy. A student named Lucas, who had often been the target of mean comments for being quiet and shy, stood up and said something unexpected. "I've been humiliated by Emma before, but now I see that she's just someone else trying to hide her own pain." This statement resonated deeply with many in the audience. Students who had once passively watched the bullying began to reflect on their role in it all. After all, who hadn't pretended not to see to avoid trouble? And who was really innocent? Quiet students, like Amanda herself, began to approach her timidly. A girl named Miranda, who rarely spoke to anyone, approached her at the end of the day. "You did what no one else had the courage to do. I wish I had stopped this before, but I was afraid. Thank you for showing that we can be strong together." Amanda hesitated, surprised by the reaction. She had never imagined that her actions could inspire others to face their own internal struggles. It wasn't just about revenge against Emma. It was about opening space for voices that had been silenced. The following days were intense. The school convened disciplinary meetings to address the incident. Both Amanda and Emma were temporarily suspended and required to participate in mediation sessions supervised by teachers. The administration decided that they should work together on a community service project within the school, helping to organize charity events. Initially, the interactions between Amanda and Emma were tense and filled with hostility. During one afternoon, while arranging chairs for an event, Emma burst out, "You think I deserve this? All this because I made a few jokes? Everyone does that." Amanda looked at her coldly, but her response was surprisingly calm. "They're not jokes, Emma. It's humiliation. You know exactly what you were doing. But maybe it's time to understand why." This comment seemed to hit Emma in an unexpected way. She fell silent, thoughtful. In the following days, small conversations emerged between them, mediated by the teachers. Gradually, Emma began to admit that she tried to mask her own insecurities. Her parents demanded perfection from her, and bullying others was a way to prove to herself that she still held some kind of control. Although it was difficult for Amanda to hear these justifications, she realized that Emma wasn't entirely bad. She was just lost. This didn't mean Amanda accepted her actions, but rather that both of them had something in common. They were both struggling against different traumas, expressed in opposite ways. As Amanda and Emma continued to work together, something remarkable happened. The school environment began to change. Other students who had been victims of bullying felt encouraged to step out of the shadows. Some began to share their experiences, while others took small steps, like sitting at new tables in the cafeteria or joining clubs where they once feared being ridiculed. One of these students was Flynn, a boy who always avoided eye contact with others for fear of being judged. Inspired by Amanda's firm stance, he created a collaborative mural in the main hallway, where students could write messages to each other. The mural quickly became a symbol of unity, filled with encouraging phrases. It was striking how students who had never participated in anything were now joining groups without fear of judgment. Of course, not everything changed overnight. There were moments when old habits resurfaced. Nervous laughter when someone made a mistake in public, malicious whispers in the hallways. However, something crucial had changed. The general tolerance for bullying had drastically decreased. When someone started to ridicule another, few laughed, others intervened, and it soon stopped. On the last day of the community service project, Amanda and Emma finished setting up the auditorium for a special event organized by the students. It was the first time Emma had genuinely smiled since the incident. She looked at Amanda and said, hesitantly, "I actually wanted to thank you. Not for what you did at first, but for forcing me to see who I was. I hate to admit it, but you were right." Amanda nodded slightly, not responding verbally. The two exchanged a look that conveyed mutual understanding, recognizing that, despite all their differences, both had learned valuable lessons. That night, during the event, Amanda sat alone at the back of the auditorium, watching the excited faces of her classmates. She saw Flynn leading an impromptu musical performance, saw Miranda laughing with a group of friends she never imagined knowing, and even Emma helping to coordinate part of the event. It was proof that small changes can create big waves. Sometimes, the quietest ones carry the fiercest storms within them, can be the calm before the storm. Even the softest voices can roar when pushed too far. And life isn't just about villains and victims. True growth comes when we choose to confront our mistakes and seek understanding. Comment below and let us know your thoughts. If you enjoyed this emotional roller coaster, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to embrace the journey for more gripping stories. See you in the next video.